Donald Trump is going to hold a press conference from the Oval Office this evening. Now, details have been kind of sketchy about what he's going to talk about. My guess is he's going to talk about Venezuela, and he's going to claim that he's protecting the United States by committing war crimes and murdering people in the Caribbean, that this is a pretext, and now he's going to invade Venezuela to protect us from drugs. Well, that's a lie. This is regime change. Donald Trump wants to control Venezuela. And the reason he wants to control Venezuela is that Venezuela has a tremendous oil reserve. And Donald Trump doesn't do anything where he doesn't line his own pockets. And so I am sure that there is some scheme to funnel the oil reserves into the control of Trump sycophants, or perhaps the Saudis, or I'm sure that maybe Jared Kushner is probably involved. But Don's figured a way to steal more money, and that's what he does. It also gives him the added benefit of distracting from the Epstein files, which are due out in a couple of days. Anything he can do to avoid being culpable in what he did there. Now, he also has another problem in his White House, and that is with his chief of staff, Susie Wiles. Seems Susie, over a period of interviews, actually told the truth. Donald Trump has an alcoholic personality. J.D. Vance is a conspiracy theorist. On and on and on. And that's the bottom line. I mean, she told who they are. And if you look at the pictures, God, the pictures really say who they are. So the White House is and continues to be a total clusterfuck. They are incompetent. They don't know how to govern. And basically, it's a kleptocracy where they're trying to line their pockets and secure their futures. Oh, by the way, if you like the content, please subscribe. This is Substack and on YouTube. I would appreciate it. Other things going on. It seems that Kamala Harris is kind of gearing up to run for president again. I guess when you get that close, it's hard to back away. But I don't see this going anywhere. She never was very good as a candidate in a group of Democrats. Remember that when they all ran against Joe Biden, the only person to actually win a primary was Pete Buttigieg. Harris never got that far. She did get picked to be Biden's vice president. It balanced the ticket. Maybe it helped him get elected. I don't know. I don't see it as getting her in much place, but I can understand that the ego took a beating. She came close. She was almost the president, and she really wants it. So we'll see what happens with that. Speaking of elections, here in Kentucky, we had a special election yesterday. Now, this is to fill a seat in the state legislature. And the fellow that won is a guy named Gary Clements, and he is a president of a union. Now, he won in the Democratic district. Understand, Kentucky is tremendously gerrymandered when it comes to our state legislature. And this is one of those districts where they've tried to funnel all the Democrats, give them one seat, and, keep it from being fair and even, and everybody having a chance. Now, the thing about it is, this district that Clements won was won by Kamala Harris in the presidential election by about 6 points. The fellow that left the seat, the Democrat, won by about 20 points. However, Gary Clements took 73% of the vote. In other words, he outperformed his predecessor by 30 percentage points. And he outperformed Kamala Harris by over 40 percentage points. This is in Kentucky. Now, yeah, a Democrat was probably going to win this seat. But a Democrat never wins by 70-some percent, except for last night. So Gary Clements is off to Frankfort, and hopefully he's not the last Democrat that does that. Let's see, what else is going on? Performance ratings. Now, I worked in state government for a number of years. I've got performance ratings, and hell, I did performance ratings. And they always want you to kind of, conform to the bell curve. You know, most of them in the middle, a few at the top, a few at the bottom. Now, they really don't want the ones at the bottom because then you have personnel hearings and people are upset. But they basically don't want to give a lot of money. You know, don't give people a 2, 3, 4% raise, whatever the increment is. So the federal government has come out saying that when you do your performance ratings now for your staff, 1 to 5% should be at the top, and we want to say 80% of them get from 3 to 5. I guess that's a 5-point scale. So they want 80% in the middle and 1 to 5% at the top. Now here's the problem. I ran an organization, a small group, and so I had about 10 people working for me. And fortunately, my supervisor, my manager, allowed me to pick the people I wanted in my group. And I did the best I could to pick the absolute best people I could. I really worked hard at getting good people that could work on their own, people that would take a project and go with it and get it done. And so when it came to performance evaluations, yeah, I gave most of them really high performance evaluations because they were doing a really high job. And I didn't try to make the average. And fortunately, my supervisor didn't jump my case for doing that. So here's the point. If you got really good people working, you should pay them. You should give them some reward for doing a good job. Now, by the same token, if you got total losers, you should fire them. But then again, most people don't have the guts enough to do that. But to arbitrarily say, make a curve, well, that's bullshit. Let's see, what else is going on? The ballroom. Donnie's upped the price. It's now $400 million. He goes, well, it probably won't really cost that much, but I'll bring it in under budget. Well, yeah, under budget and in your pocket, I'm sure. Donnie's trying to figure out a way to make more money. And, I'm surprised he doesn't want the whole damn thing spray painted with gold leaf. But, hey, who knows? The ballroom is a fiasco, another sign of the incompetence, corruption, and greed in this administration. So, tonight we get to see Donnie perform. Now, I will try to watch this, but I'm not going to promise I will. Because usually about 5 minutes into him talking, I want to throw a shoe through my television. But we'll try and watch it. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Venezuela. So, have a great day.